You never, or I will say rarely ever, see a green seed issue with a pusher because you've allowed that crop to 100% naturally mature. So we've got it laid down on the ground, we've got it protected from the wind, and as we have pushed this crop this way, we're going to harvest it directly against it. We're going to come back and cut across the grain. On sandy soils, I've had some other gentlemen mention this morning, ask me what's the best method for sandy soils. If you've got something that's really susceptible to wind, when you're done harvesting with a crop that has been pushed, you have given that field a haircut. I run flex heads on my combines. I rarely ever have to unpin the flex and actually make them flex. I leave them rigid, but you know, we're dealing with 2 or 3 inch stubble height. So we've got very little stubble sticking up. I run choppers, try to get good residue spread, even coating of residue as it comes out the back of the machine. So if you're in a situation where you've got really light ground that's susceptible to blowing and things like that, if you're going to use a pusher, you know, be conservation minded, get back in there with a cover crop, hay grazer strips, whatever you need to do to manage that. With this system, you're going to have some stubble height out there. It's still not going to be a lot, but at least you're going to have something that's going to be up there a foot 15 inches off the ground to help, you know, break up the wind erosion problems. The third and least likable method of harvesting canola is direct cut. And you know, if you've got 1,000 acres of canola, direct cutting is really not a very good option. If you've got 100 acres, it's possible. Thing is, it's timing. You get out of the wheat when canola's ready and you go harvest canola. If you're going to direct cut, we have some desiccants available. Last year we got a registration and full label for Reglone. Chemical name is Diquat. You can go in, spray that crop. Coverage is important. You need to use 15-20 gallons of water with the ground rig. If they're going over with an airplane, make sure they use 5 or 6 gallons of water with an airplane. You've got to have good full coverage of Diquat on the crop to terminate it. Then depending on your weather conditions, you know, if it's cloudy and overcast, it may take 10 or 14 days to dry the crop down. If it's really, really hot, sunny, 3 to 5 days. The key is on direct cutting, when it is ready, when your moisture is below 10%, you get the machines into that crop and you harvest it. Don't go out there and cut another quarter of wheat, another half section of wheat, or whatever you're working on before you go harvest your canola, or it could possibly be gone. We're one windstorm away. When you leave it up in the air for a direct cut harvest, you're one windstorm away from losing your crop. It will shatter out and cost you a lot of money. It's a very high value crop. It'll put a lot of money in your billfold if you'll manage it right. So we've got tools in the toolbox for management. We can push, we can swath, we can direct cut and use a desiccant to dry that crop down and improve our timing. If it's too wet to be in the field but your crop is ready to desiccate, go out there and fly it on, because that way you know that you're able to time. By the time your ground is dry enough to get on with the combine, your crop's going to be ready. The Canola Association and Oklahoma State University has cooperatively put together a custom harvester list. We've got names and contact information for people with swathers, with pushers, and custom combining crews. Utilize that resource. If you need help custom cutting, get your custom combiners lined up. These are guys that have called in, sent in their information. They know how to harvest this crop, and they want to be involved with it.